There are an infinite number of surfboard shapes, styles and sizes, from kneeboards to shortboards, mini Mals and the longer Malibus, and even the huge stand-up boards. And the compounds they are made from vary from balsa wood through to the exotic Kevlar. But the most common materials are still the traditional fiberglass and resin-covered foam boards, which, although there's some automation, are usually handmade. The process for making short or long boards is basically the same, so here we will watch as this long board is produced by Trigger Brothers, Paul and Phil. Really smooth, I can walk up, ride the nose, and yeah, so have you got something you can show? After the customer has spoken to the shaper and decided on the particular size and shape they are after, the next step is to select the appropriate foam blank, a little bigger than the length and thickness required for the final board. Paul then starts by planing the bottom to a smooth level surface. This is roughly the curve that the blank comes in, so he can work the thickness, width and rocker measurements too. He then planes the deck or top, giving it a slight roll off each side. Next he marks the shape that he wants the board to be, using one of the various templates to get the exact shape he's after, sometimes using a mixture of different shapes. The wooden stringer which strengthens the board is the center line, which helps to make sure that each side is a mirror image of the other. Now is when the skill of the shaper really becomes important, when he starts to machine the blank to the various thicknesses the customer wants. We mentioned the rocker before. That is the amount of bend or curve the board has at the tail, the middle and the nose. The blank is cut to the rough shape before the edges, called rails, are shaped. The shape of the rails is crucial in determining how the board will turn. Like if they are sharp or square at the tail, this gives the board more bite on turns. Great care is taken to ensure the board is symmetrical in shape and thickness and extensively sanded to give the blank that perfectly smooth finish, which is the foundation for laying on the fiberglass and resin finish. Now we come to the more artistic part of the board making process that adds the decorations and the strength of the fiberglass and resin covering. The stringer needs to be masked off when paint is to be applied to the foam because paint won't stick to the wood. As this design will have a blended rim around the rails with a hard edge to contrast the white with a vivid blue and the soft against hard edges, masking of the main painting area takes place. A light background colour is applied to the centre of the painted area before the dominant blue is carefully added to the outer area and thicker at the ends. As with shaping the rails and the rocker of the board, getting a good balance of proportion in the design is also a skill. Now it's time for the fiberglass to be layered onto the bottom of the freshly painted board, but first the tissue paper thin stickers must be prepared because they are placed under the glass. This always amazes people that they can be seen crystal clear once they are covered with the fiberglass and resin. The resin is flooded over the board, making sure that the glass is completely drenched and there are no air bubbles remaining. This board is having a removable centre fin box, so a slot is cut for its fitting at a later stage. The drips from the overflow of the resin are basically removed, ready for flooding the other side. Trigger Brothers like to put an extra layer of glass, making it 3 layers thick in the area where knee paddling and standing occurs, which also makes the board stronger overall and less likely to break in half in the surf. Before the next flooding occurs, the leg rope plug is fitted to a hole in the rear so the glass layers will hold it in place. Again, the stickers and the next flooding. Then another coating to make sure the board keeps its wonderful appearance as long as possible. Now it's time for that fin box to be resined in with its own extra bit of glass security. When nearly dry, the glass and resin is trimmed away from the middle of the box. The board is then sanded to an extremely smooth matte finish, free from blemishes, and then gets a couple of coats of clear lacquer to seal the board, which is then polished to a gloss finish, and hey presto, another custom special is finished and another happy customer is off to enjoy their board.